Hey everybody, welcome back. I am John and this is The Wealthy Sailor. As you can see, I still haven't gotten a better backdrop for my room yet. I ordered one, but mail takes forever out here, so just give me some time. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite things, and it's pets. And basically I want to go over some of the financial things that some of us may or may not know about pets, or some information that might influence our decision on whether or not we should get pets. So first, I'm not going to miss out on this opportunity to show you my dog, Daisy. Yeah, I hope you think she's adorable because I love that girl. I've had her for like 6 years and she's amazing. So some things about pets. Pets can be a very costly financial decision depending on how you go about it. Total in the United States, we spend about $69 billion a year on our pets, which is a huge increase than anything that we've ever done before, and that's because of one, more people are getting pets. Pets are much more common, and also in previous studies have shown that in other generations they would get a pet for maybe 10 years, one life cycle of a dog or cat. But they wouldn't generally get another one. Now they're finding that like dog people or cat people continuously have dogs and cats, and some of them have multiple dogs or cats. So a lot more pets are actually going into homes, which is good. More loving families for pets. Okay, so some quick things. A recent study was put out, and 69% of Americans thought that the lifetime cost of owning a dog was going to be less than $6,500. But even odder is that 12% of the people surveyed thought the lifetime cost of a dog would be less than $700 total, like including food. Even on the best of circumstances, if you have a dog and let's say you're giving them leftover people food, I mean, still, like, there's no way it's going to cost like that. So a study was put out to actually give you a realistic cost of the lifetime of a dog, and it's about $15,000 total. Likewise, a cat is about $12,500 total through the lifetime, and that's including, this includes the averages for vet bills, food, play stuff like that. Alright, so since I'm a dog person, I'm going to give you some straight numbers about dogs. Cats will probably be about 50 to 75% of the cost I give you, but I didn't actually do the research on cats because I don't have a cat, and I'm not a huge fan of cats. Not that I dislike cats or hate cats, I like my dog better. So just some monthly costs for dogs, and I'll try to put a graphic up just to kind of help you understand a little bit. So per month, food costs are going to be about $47. My food costs are closer to $75 because we buy a better brand of food, but it doesn't have to cost you that much. And to be honest, I'm not sure how much of a difference it is. You really kind of have to read the studies and stuff, but a lot of the pet studies are put out by pet food companies. Go figure, they say that their particular brand is the best. So some additional costs are vet. The vet usually costs about $40 a month additionally. That's if you're getting your dog regular checkups and the flea medication they're supposed to be on, stuff like that. Like my dog has flea and heartworm, and she takes one pill a month, and that pill's $39, which means it's automatically $4 a month. Not to mention yearly shots and stuff like that. So I probably pay closer to $50 or $60 per month just on vet bills. Now, while we're talking about vet bills, I want to bring up pet insurance. So basically, pet insurance is just health insurance for your pet. I did some research to try to find out how effective it was because I was thinking about getting it, and I wasn't impressed with it. Basically, pet insurance costs $30 to $50 a month, which isn't too much, except for the fact that they don't normally cover routine stuff. That would be your flea and tick medication, heartworm, different like rabies vaccines, stuff like that they don't cover. Additionally, let's say you have like a purebred dog that comes with some health problems. Like for example, I know a friend of mine had Dobermans, and Dobermans had stomach problems and arthritis issues. Well, what a lot of pet health insurance companies do, I'm not saying all of them do, but a lot of them do, is they will block out known problems with certain breeds. So to me, if you're spending $30 a month, up to $40 or $50 potentially, then let's say $50. Well, that's $600 a month or a year that you could put into a moderately safe investment fund, and then just deduct from there when you use it, and you're sort of like self-insuring your dog. And I believe that's a better way of doing it. It probably covers you more completely, no deductibles or anything. And then if you don't use it, then you still retain that money. So besides food and vet, another thing you have to think of with a dog is boarding and sitting the dog. The thing is that I don't go out of town all that much when I'm not deployed. But when I am deployed, oh geez, is it a headache to try to get somebody to watch my dog for me, if my fiance also gets deployed at the same time. Luckily, that's only happened once, but it was tough finding somebody to watch my dog for as long as the deployment is. So the national average on boarding and dog sitting is about $50 a month. If you travel more, it might be more than that. And then there's an industry for doggy daycare, and that's just you drop off your dog to play all day. And those can range anywhere from $15 to $25 a day for playtime, which isn't bad. I mean, like, my dog loves it when she goes. It's just that it might not be in your budget to do. Last thing is property damage. To be honest, my dog doesn't destroy my property all that much. We got her as a rescue, and she was already pretty well trained to being at home, so we didn't have that problem. But I understand that is a problem that a lot of people do have with animals, and the estimate for that was $400 per year of total damage to your house. And I mean, you can Google online and find a bunch of pictures of dogs destroying stuff. I think to make this video more interesting, I'm going to intermittently put pictures of my dog in there. So say hello, Daisy. The other thing I want to talk about with pets, and this is just pets in general, not just specifically dogs, is that there's a lot of benefits to having dogs too. And one of them is that studies show that you have improved mental health if you have an animal around. I remember there being a study years ago where they went to a retirement community and they gave whoever wanted one a cat. And they found that on average they lived longer. I'm not sure exactly how much longer they lived for, but I do think that having something that depends on you and something that loves you and will cuddle with you and stuff is beneficial to your health. Lower rates of depression when you have dogs. Also, there was a study that burglars are more afraid of dogs than they are of burglary alarms set for a house and motion sensor lights and stuff like that. Okay, so for those of you who don't know how the typical burglary is it's not in the middle of the night with a guy with his mask on or something. It's usually during the day, and somebody will just come up to your house when nobody's in the neighborhood because everybody's at work, and he'll just try and see if your door's unlocked. If your house looks appealing for some reason, but your door is locked, and they start looking around for other ways in your house. Or they do the same thing, but they do it in backyards because it's a little more hidden. So the reason that dogs are so effective is dogs usually hear this and they immediately run to whatever section of the house that, windows, doors, whatever, and they start barking. Nobody wants to mess with a barking dog. So it's a really good deterrent. So it can make things safer. My dog is very loud when she thinks somebody's trying to get in the house. So we like that. We never shush her or anything like that when she's barking when she hears something, because we want her to have that kind of behavior. So I was getting a little worried that some of the videos I've been making have been getting a little boring, too monotone, not enough information or whatever. So maybe putting pictures of my dog will get more attention. Maybe she'll become a doggy celebrity and she'll start making me money instead of me having to spend money on her every month. Although I love her to death, so I'm not gonna complain too much about it. So I looked at a couple different articles and studies, and I combined that with what I have personally spent in order to give you this information. So some of it might vary, but I was really surprised that towards the end of my research, I found a study out of the UK that said their average realistic cost for a dog is $27,000 to $42,000 throughout that dog's lifetime, and a cat is $21,000 to $31,000. Now, this is measured a little differently in the UK because they have a lot more licensing fees and stuff like that than they do in the United States, and the general cost of a dog and cat costs more. But still, that number is still really high, so I'm not sure the validity of that specific study. I think that would be a little overestimating, but if you can afford $42,000 during the lifetime of a dog, then you can take care of a dog, no problem, man. You're set. As a final note, if you want to save money with animals, I wouldn't really advise doing too much. I definitely wouldn't recommend you skipping on their food, or definitely don't do anything where you're skipping on any of their medical treatments or anything like that. The simple fact is that if you can't afford an animal, don't get an animal, or get a cheaper one. I mean, like, I had fish for years, and fish are super easy to take care of and cheap once you get the initial setup. But if you did want to save money, and this is something I advocate all the time, please don't go to a breeder for a dog. Go to the Humane Society and rescue an animal. They have my dog's a rescue from the Humane Society. In fact, side story, the only reason I ended up with a dog is because I just got back from my first deployment to Afghanistan, and I was going through my divorce at the time. And I was just having sort of like a hard time. Like, I had this big house that was empty, and just got lonely. So it was suggested to me to get a dog, and I did. And I basically went to the Humane Society, and I asked them which one's been there the longest. And unfortunately, the one that's been there the longest was named Jack, and it was a German Shepherd, I think a purebred, but Jack had a problem with being in cages, like the kennels. And at the time, I thought kennel training a dog was kind of important. So we didn't go with that one. So we went with the one that's been there the second longest. And that's how we got Daisy, our beautiful pit bull. And here's another picture. But anyway, so that's how I ended up with my dog. But I've always been very happy that we chose to go with a rescue over a breeder. One, it's so much cheaper. Like, you have no idea. It cost me like $110 to walk out with her. And that was with her already being neutered. And she was updated on shots, she was already microchipped and everything. Plus, it gave us a little bit of a helpline, because if we had any problems with anything, we could call them and ask them for help. If you could also return dogs if you don't get along with them or whatever, but we didn't have that issue, obviously. I know this isn't finance related, but I really do think it's best to remind people that there's a lot of good dogs that are sitting in shelters or the Humane Society, and some of them euthanize the animals if they're not taken. So if you're thinking about getting a pet and you can afford it, you can provide a good home for a pet. They have both dogs and cats there. I haven't seen anything else. I can't imagine fish being at the Humane Society, but they definitely have dogs and cats. So I would suggest going there if you want a companion. Well, anyway, that's it for my video. If you liked it, give me a like, a share, or subscribe. Also, feel free to comment on topics you want me to cover. The thing is that I made a list of topics, and I have topics all the way until March of next year. But if you want me to cover something, or you just want my opinion on something, definitely leave me a comment below, and I will at least consider making it a video, or at least addressing it in a video. Anyway, thank you for watching, and keep saving.